No Taylor Swift, no problem as Chelsea find winning a formula that could pay off big time. Chelsea Chief Marketing Officer Claire Cronin has explained the approach to the club reaching Gen Z, including the use of AI software to tap into delivering what fans really want. With consumer habits changing with each generation, football clubs have to constantly evolve how they market themselves to what is now a global audience. There is a big difference between knowing what your audience wants and thinking you know what they want. Without understanding the changing behaviors of consumers and how they consume content, it is impossible to truly maximize the potential of brands seeking growth in new and emerging markets, as well as in their own territory. While uncovering the winning formula for how to succeed on the pitch for Chelsea at present has proven something of a conundrum for the club's owners, what has been happening behind the scenes, the club believes, has them hitting the right notes when it comes to how to give fans of Gen Z, those whose birth years fall between the late 1990s and late 2000s, what they want within the realms of what they can control. Different generations want different forms of engagement from their favorite sports teams, and those habits can change in terms of geography, with the North American sports fan expecting a different proposition to the English Gen Z fan. So how has a club like Chelsea sought to find a way to reach those fans, and is it a plan that is working? Speaking at the Financial Times Business of Football Summit in London on Wednesday, Chelsea's Chief Marketing Officer Claire Cronin explained, "We really look at fan engagement at a very macro level. There are 3 ways to do it. Number 1, win on the pitch. That absolutely helps to drive the fan engagement. Number 2, have Taylor Swift date one of your players. Number 3, use data and insights to see what your fans want. The first 2 are out of my control, and so the third one is really the lever that I'm looking at with my marketing team. We can see through the data insight that for Gen Z in particular, they are the biggest demographic that use our app, and the biggest thing they want to do on our app is look at the highlights of the game. So look at live streaming of the live products on the app when the team goes on tour. Last season, we looked at that app experience and we tapped into some different mechanisms to get that fan data. We are very lucky that we have a heavy-hitting fan advisory board, one of the first in the Premier League to set that up. We also have 800 supporter groups worldwide, so we have 2 great mechanisms to tap into to find out what they want us to do. How do they want us to evolve the app? What kind of features do they want us to accrony? The number 1 thing that was coming back was that they wanted more data, more graphical overlays on the actual live stream. We were quite puzzled by this as it wasn't something that has been used much in football thus far, but when we got under the skin of the data and started to segment it, we understood that the biggest clamoring for that was in the US, where they are very used to already having data overlays with things like the NFL, with the F1, which has massively increased in popularity. In order to understand in greater detail how to best tailor content to users of the app and how to maximize its benefits, the club partnered with Tempus X Machine, one of the 2 firms that would combine last year to create Infinite Athlete, the US firm that would become Chelsea's front-of-shirt partners this season. Through Tempus X's MVX system, the club trialed AI-driven personalized elements for app users, such as graphic overlays and live match stats during broadcasts of the US tour, with the software successfully trialed during the club's game against Wrexham in the Florida Cup. Leaning on learnings around what fans wanted, with the club having engaged the services of consultancy Yonder to conduct market research, the club found drilled down into what drove engagement in the app among certain users. Cronin said, "We started working with Infinite Athlete and they had developed a product that enabled us to deliver the first ever AI-driven bespoke broadcast. Just from deploying that one innovation, we had a 47% uplift in people viewing this tour. We didn't do anything else. We didn't put any paid media behind it. We were giving the fans what they wanted. Now we have had it for so long, we have applied it to domestic matches. As a result of some of the work we are doing with Infinite Athlete, the features that we are looking at are things that we would never have thought to innovate ourselves." So some of the things that fans are saying is that they would love a personalized broadcast. For example, if Millie Bright was your favorite player, they'd love to be able to watch the game highlights through the perspective of following her around the pitch. We want to keep on delivering what they want through the phones in their pocket. That's what it's about. It is about fan-first engagement versus what is happening in other industries, which is creating technology and then trying to find a way to serve it up to clients who weren't actually expecting it and who didn't really want it or value it. But learning about what fans want goes well beyond just graphic overlays and live stats, Cronin says, with the club learning more about what fans want from everything from a new stadium to what the next kit looks like. There is a lot more than data overlays, said Cronin. There is what the fans want the stadium to look like. We have been in discussions for a very long time about building a new stadium, so there is a lot of what do fans want the stadium to look like. What do they want the bars, the food, and the catering to look like? What do they want the next season's kit to look like? What do they want the crest to look like in terms of other merchandise it could be applied to buy? What do they want the Junior Blues section to look like? Taylor Swift sneaks in Singlish for first night of Eras Tour concert in Singapore, recounts family ties to the country and driving past mum's old home. Her dancer Cameron Saunders said the Singlish line is part of the bridge of her song, "We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together." Ah, Singlish. The unofficial national language of Singapore that we love to hate, but seeing it get international recognition drives us wild, especially when the recognition comes from global megastar Taylor Swift. The singer started her Eras Tour concert on Saturday, 2 March in Singapore, the only stop in Southeast Asia, and a spot of Singlish made its way into her concert. To manage expectations, it's not Swift herself who says it. In the bridge of her song, "We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together," she sings like "We're never getting back together," followed by her dancer Cameron Saunders adding "like ever." For Singapore, though, an unexpected surprise came when Saunders said "no law," causing the 60,000-strong crowd to erupt in screams and cheers. Saunders' line has been localized for the Tokyo and Australia leg of the tour as well. In the first night for Tokyo, he said "Erinai," impossible in Japanese. For one of the Australia concerts, he said "no" with an Aussie accent. His line seems to change with different nights, so we'll have to see what surprises Mother has in store for the rest of the Singapore concerts. Family ties to Singapore. During the Evermore era of her concert, Swift spoke briefly of her connection to Singapore before performing Champagne Problems. She talked about the song Marjorie, which she had just performed, and shared that it was about her grandmother, or her mum's mum as she described it. Swift was moved that the audience had turned on the flashlight on their phones and put it up while she was performing Marjorie. Then she said with a smile, "My mum actually spent a lot of her childhood with her mum and dad and sister growing up in Singapore." This was something she revealed back in 2016 during an interview with the Straits Times. Swift confessed, during her sharing session, that whenever she came to Singapore on tour, her mum would take me and drive me past her old house, where she used to go to school. She shared, "To get to come here and play a show this big with so many beautiful, generous people who are essentially honoring my family with what you just did with that song, it means the world. I already love you. We're gonna have a blast tonight," added Swift.